It's Friday night. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Vision Coach Alicia, and I am your host tonight for Around the Table. Come on, gather yourselves. Come on in. Invite someone. Get your favorite drink, whatever it is you want, whether it's water, tea, you decide. I am so excited to be here tonight. Friday nights at 8 o'clock. I look forward to coming and sitting around the table because guess what? I know I get to spend time with you. And tonight, I was thinking before I came on the show tonight, I wanted to do something special tonight because I have a super duper special guest tonight. And because of that, I'm going to give away a couple of things tonight. So tell your friend to come on in, get a friend, to invite a friend, and come on in and sit with me around the table as we get started tonight. So listen, on Friday night, you could be anywhere. You could be out to the movies. You could be out on a date. You could be out just out having fun. But you chose to be here with me tonight. So invite someone to come on in to around the table. I'm not going to delay this anymore because I am super excited for the guest that I have tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring my guest up tonight. She is my friend. She is my sister. And welcome, Sandy.
Yes, ma'am. Hey, how you
Thank you for coming and sitting around the table with me. I am excited.
Listen,
Can you tell?
yes, I can tell it. Me too.
I've been waiting on this for quite a while, and now here you are. I am super, super excited because you are a very special person in my life.
Amen.
And because we do kind of the same things.
And we do.
And it's so exciting to get to speak to someone who knows what you do and really appreciate what you do. But before we get started, I don't ask for bios because I don't do bio introductions because I believe that you know yourself better than I do. And so I'm going to ask you if you would just tell the people a little bit about who you are.
Yes, indeed. Well, welcome everyone. I first want to thank you, the host. Yes, my friend, even my coach. She has coached me. Great woman of God. Powerful mouthpiece for the kingdom of God. And I'm so honored that she would even consider having me among her amazing guests on this phenomenal show. I love sitting around these virtual tables, and normally I'm on the other side, having the honor and the privilege of hearing incredible stories such as this woman of God. And so thank you for allowing me to just sit back and share my story. I am Sandy Sanders. I am the host and creator of the Coffee Conversation and Book Talks with Sandy podcast. I am a podcaster as well, but I simply just started out putting up lives, and putting up daily inspirations on Facebook about 5 years ago. And so someone told me, which was my visionary author, she said, Sandy, you have a show? And I was like, huh? I do? Yeah, we want to bring the authors on. So yes, I do interview authors, anthology book projects, and collaborations, and event tours, speaker tours. So I'm just someone who says, Lord, what can I do? And it was my first fruit to the Lord when I became an author. Coach Alicia, I did not know how to get my book out. Did not know. And lo and behold, when you share, and yes, y'all, she's been doing this for a minute. Had I known, I would have been coming to her a long time ago. But God knows the plan and the purpose.
Yes,
so,
yes, He does.
Yeah. So
Yes.
that's a little bit about what I do.
Yes. Well, I want to just jump right in and
Yeah.
talk to you about your books and your writing. One of the questions I'm going to ask you is what really inspired you to start writing?
So going back to that initial person who was my visionary author. Prior to that, a young lady had approached me, and she was doing I didn't know, I'll be honest with you, I was so green with writing. I was like, do what? Because you were writing your personal journal, but never thought about publishing.
Right.
And she says, Sandy, and she was an evangelist. I'm doing a book from the book, The Titus Woman. And and it's notes to the younger girl, the younger woman. And the intent is that the book would be given to girls going off to college. And my heart I said, oh yeah, because I know what it's like leaving home for the first time. So at an early age, and my leaving home wasn't going to college. What I was doing was simply running away because I was a teen mom. Okay. But I said, Lord, I now have something to say. And that's how it started. I was part of that book, and then I did an individual solo project. She came back and she was a publisher, and I did a gratitude journal. I have a gratitude journal.
Okay.
And so it's a prayer, like a prayer journal, a gratitude journal, you write in the whole nine. But it was the third book that really set the pace. But the first anthology, yeah. So someone asked, and
So your very first book,
all related to the Lord.
okay. So the very first time you ever wrote was actually an anthology.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then after that, you wrote your own book. So what was the name of your book that you wrote?
It's a gratitude, Coffee Conversations gratitude journal.
Okay. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So you talk about your visionary person that helped you to write anthologies. And I followed a couple of anthologies that you wrote. The first one that I realized that was the Esther Code. So tell us a little bit about the Esther Code.
Oh my. The Queen Esther Decode is the phenomenal visionary author, Dr. Renee Huffman, who's also a publisher as well. And she's been on my show many, many times, often would bring on authors, and she will be doing anthology book projects. Come on, can I bring my authors on to do an author tour? Absolutely. And so she reached out to me. She said, listen, I want you to be a part of this project. And I already knew of the Queen Esther Decode, which was volume 1, because I interviewed them. But when she came back and she said, I want you to be on this. What do you think about talking about discipline? And I kind of said, Lord, that's an area that I challenge with. Not, and so that book, and so what it is, we talked about, of course, the story of Esther. And in that, we had a subject, and our subject, each of us, this particular one, and forgive me, I'm looking at my digital copy here.
That's fine.
And so this particular, my subject, it's the decodes. And what are the decodes? So Esther had many codes that she used in her way of victory. She used wisdom. She used knowledge. She used discipline. So that's what the decode is all about. I want to get to the very beginning. And so you have these codes. And so each of the authors will come and share in this book. And the book actually went #1, Amazon #1 bestseller in 3 different categories. And it just kept growing and going all night. And so, so it did hit the #1 Amazon bestseller. And so, yes. And so being a part of some biblical history and bringing about it in of course, everything, it had some I have scriptures. We have scriptures of prayer, and I talk about the discipline of what it is in my life of how God had delivered me from alcohol. And I talk about the struggle, and I also talk about the discipline of when I didn't go back and pick up the bottle. So that's what I do. I share my story of God how God gave me that spirit of discipline in overcoming alcohol. Yeah.
Wow, that is awesome. So each co-author, had a particular subject in this book that they decoded.
Exactly.
That
Yeah.
is awesome. I actually know Renee. I
Uh-huh.
remember I remember probably about 4 years ago, she invited me to do a project, and it was a very, a project where she asked me to gather some women from the Virgin Islands. I told her I was going to gather some women from the Virgin Islands, and we were going to do a bundle with
Yes.
them, and she did a great job with it. So I am just so excited that she is your visionary author. Listen, um my next question to you is, what kind of see, because a lot of people write, and
Yeah.
everyone have a different writing style. Some people write with a pen, some
Yeah.
people do it in their computer different. So my question to you is, what has been the most challenging part of you writing?
My most challenging part is when I say yes to a book project, or and I'll speak to that because I can write simply in a journal. My thoughts, I'm one is Bible journal. When I go to church and or I sit down and I do my study, I've got a book that I'm writing in, as well as my Bible. I've got my highlighters, I've got my pens. However, being a writer, because I now am a published writer, some of the challenges is really seeing the heartbeat, in my case of an anthology, seeing the heartbeat of the project and the visionary, because the visionary has the vision in her head, in his head, how they want to produce or publish this book.
This book, yes.
And you have to, when you say yes, I've learned along is that you really have to be prayerful, because the key is, Apostle, is that I've learned is that book goal is to be in someone's hand. And the goal is that it's more than just you buying that book. There's so many books, and I may be jumping ahead, but you said the challenge. The challenge is, and what I was going to say, books are on the shelf dust with dust on it. We
Yes, yes,
want to produce books that is going to bring about a change in their life. When they
yes.
read your story, it could be one thing in that story, but as the flow goes. So one of my challenges was not writing as the victim, if that makes any
Okay.
sense.
Yes.
Or the poor woe, it's me. I didn't do that. And so I will be honest, in my very second book, I really didn't think I fit into that book. And I said yes, phenomenal book. It went number one, same thing. But as I continue to say yes, I realized and watched my writing style changed,
Mm,
because I didn't so much talk about, I did talk about the drug, the addiction and things like that, but I didn't talk about it as much because now I have plans of action. It's like a call to action. I learned, I grew. And so that's how I struggled. And the visionary would come back and say, hey, no, we need to, go dig deeper, a little bit deeper, whatever, the theme of
yes.
the book is. And so you want to be prayerful and really know that it is a project for you, especially when you're collaborating, because the visionary author has the desire is that the visionary wants there to be a cohesiveness or a rhythm to the book. But us as believers, we also want that book to be our life changing. We want some folks to come back and give a testimony.
Yes.
That
So
makes
you
any
don't, yeah, so you don't, people, when they're asked to do ontologies, they should not just say yes. They should make sure that this is a project that they're going to be committed to, and that they are expecting as they go along for different things to happen, changes to come. And I have done a few anthologies myself, so I do totally understand that. Listen,
Mhm.
so first there was the Esther Code. Were you in the very first book as well?
I was not. I'm only in this volume. I was
Queen
not.
Esther
Queen- Queen
Royal Decode. That's the one
Yes,
you're in.
I'm
Okay.
in. Well, they both are called that. The first one is about it's about business experiences. I want to get the right title because
Okay.
I have both of them.
Uh-huh.
Um, but yes, in this particular volume, again, we're talking about life experiences. And so, what would be the decode that you would use? An Esther decode. What would you use? What was so for me? Discipline. What was the discipline characteristic of Esther that I could use and
Use
apply that to in
to
my story?
yours.
That's what I did.
Yes, yes, absolutely awesome. Listen, you are watching Around the Table, and tonight my guest is Sandy Sanders. She is an author and a talk show host of Coffee Conversations with Sandy, and I am super excited that she's here with me this evening, and we are speaking about her projects that she's been involved with. And we want you to know that listen, anyone can become a writer because we all have stories to tell. You just have to be in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing, whether it's an anthology or if you make a decision to write your own book. But just think about it, because you do have the capabilities of becoming an author. So let me ask you this question before we go on to other segment. I want, what advice would you give to someone that is thinking about becoming an author?
When that with that question, uh, and I was looking so I could share here. With that question, they're probably already writing.
Okay.
So to speak to that person, you're probably already writing. What do I mean by that? You're probably already, most people use a journal, they use a notebook, they use some piece of form, or they bought a journal, or they're writing from their computer. They're jotting down something. So what would I say to him or her is let someone read it, get it out of you. Writing is sharing. I'll talk from my experience and just the authors like you that we've interviewed is that they've got a story. Okay. So there's that category. What's your story? And then after you really feel like you've got the courage to share their story, hey, go ahead. And then most of all, find someone that can help you bring that story to life. And that
That's
would be
great.
having a
Yes.
coach,
Yes.
having a writer's coach, a someone that can help you bring that story to life. So that would be
Yes.
my first suggestion.
Yes. That is awesome. And I love that, because sometimes people don't realize that a coach can benefit you so much more than you struggling to get something done. So I think that I would give them the same type of advice that you did. Listen,
Mhm.
my I want to ask you this, because I'm so excited, because over the weekend I had the opportunity to follow this and see it happening and seeing it come alive. Live your faith out loud.
Whoa,
Tell us
whoa.
about live your faith out loud.
Live Your Faith Out Loud. I give a great big shout out to the phenomenal, yes, Dr. Dorothy P. Wilson, mentor of mine, great woman of God. I was in volume 2. There's 3 volumes to Live Your Faith Out Loud. And so I was in volume 2, and volume 2 is that book that I began to see how my writing began to take on another shape, where I really wanted to see and share my story of how I was living my faith out loud. Then we go on to volume. She came back and she said, listen, I want you to be in volume 3. Do you have a story? What's in you? What you been talking about? That's how we talk to each other. And I said, oh, I got a good one. I have a real good one. I've been hanging on to this one for a minute. How do I, because this, I got personal. I got personal because it's with my sisters. And so we're about to embark on a trip come probably in September, October it is. So they don't have a copy. My sisters don't. So
how many sisters do you have?
I have 4 sisters.
4
so
sisters.
I have two, yeah. I have 4 sisters. So there's 5. Listen, I'm old. I got to count on my fingers.
You just had a birthday. You just had a birthday.
Listen. So I that's what was in my heart. And it said this David says, out of your belly shall flow the rivers of living water. I think David wrote that in the book somewhere. It's in there, and that is it.
It's in there.
So what was in my belly was how the enemy, excuse me, how the enemy wanted to destroy my sister's relationship among us. And we fought hard, prayed hard that we would not fall trap to the enemy of causing a division in our family among all of the children, but specifically us girls. And my dad has a total of 5. He's passed on, he's transitioned. So I talk, and it's called the Sisters Act.
Oh, wow. I love it. I love it. That's your chapter, the Sisters Act?
Yeah, I actually had something else. And so that's the other thing. You got to be open to the publisher, the visionary, that if they see a message that's stronger than what's
then your choice. Yes.
You be open. And yes. I would listen, I was open. I said, okay, if you're expert and you're a literary coach and yeah, I will. And so she came back after reading my chapter and helping me dig deep. This one was very therapeutic for me. I cried, I wrote, and she said, no, you can dig a little bit deeper. I want to ask you some more questions and da, da, da. So we went through all of that. And so, yes, it's called the Sisters Act.
I love that. Sandy, let's take a minute and let me look at some comments here. Let's see. Thank you so much, Coach Ann, for being here with us tonight. She's saying hi. Margie, thank you so much for being here with us tonight. Sanika, thank you so much for taking such good care of us tonight, dropping us all these. Discipline is necessary for our victory. You said that. Discipline is necessary for our victory. Listen, this when we start to think about writing, when we start to think about it being a place of release, and when we think about it being telling our stories, that is what writing is really all about. I enjoy writing. I love Sister Act. She says, I love Sister Act. Yes, when we think about writing and telling our stories, we have to look at this one thing, that books stay around forever. They may not be as popular when they began, when you first launched them, but they stay around forever. So what do you think about rebooting books? bringing them back in some uh, different form or the other. What do you think about rebooting books? Because one of the things that I realized is this: I've rebooted two books of mine, and believe it or not, the
Mhm.
one that I rebooted was when you became one of my students. That book was sitting around. I had shared it 2 years ago. I
Yeah.
didn't make a big deal out of it, and then all of a sudden, I rebooted that book, and
Yes.
that book has taken off. And so, have you ever thought about rebooting books and what they do?
Oh, absolutely. I in total agreement. I think that there is a time, a season that our message can be what we call evergreen. I've learned these things in the literary world. Interviewing authors, I learned like a kid, a college kid, a kid, and then going into college. So over these years, I've learned some terminology. I even kind of did some background checks myself because I said, if I'm going to have a book out here, I really want. So I love books, but I love coffee. So those things come together. So your question is that would would I reboot or resend out my book? Would I reissue? Absolutely, absolutely. I would love, and I have considered doing that with my journal and any of the books that I've published in the past because I have 15.
Just change the color, dress the girl up a little bit, because
Yeah.
I see what it can really do. Listen, audience. Let me pay you some attention right now. She just talked about coffee. She just talked about tea. And so tonight, I want to send you this, my Hey Girlfriend mug. So if you can type in the comment what my guest said the name of her latest writing was. Hope you were listening. What was the name of the latest anthology that she took part of? We just talked about it. So if you can write, I will send you my Hey Girlfriend. You can use it for tea, for coffee, for water, juice, whatever you want to. You can have this tonight. So put it in the comments. What was the name of her book that she just recently was a part of? And it went number one in three categories.
Yeah.
Three categories. We're going to flip this script because we both are talk show hosts. So we're enjoying this with each other. So let's talk a little bit about your talk show. Tell us about your talk show. And if someone wanted to be on the talk show, what does it take for them to be a part of your show? Let's talk about
Oh,
that.
look at you. That you all, that's just like someone in this of what her and I do. And whenever it's called spreading the wealth, knowing that the pie is big enough for everybody. So, as a talk show host, and now I'm streaming. I'm a podcaster. I really wanted to put my foot in that pond,
Yes.
and the podcasting world is now streaming podcasts. This is a podcast that Dr. Alicia has, and it's live streaming. So, what I do, I interview authors and anthology projects, and those are your collaborations as well as solo projects. I have taken somewhat of a summer sabbatical. You've kind of seen me pop in and pop out here during the summer, but I'll be going full force back into the swing of things come September. And in September, I kick off an annual. It is nobody but I'm giving a great big shout out to our servant leader of the Herpreneur Network, Dr. Nikki Ziegler, who also, when I talk about the 15 books, Dr. Nikki has put me not just on her magazine cover, but I was one of the 100 women. I want to say my very first magazine cover. Dr. Nikki put me on the 100 Women to Know a few years back, and I was so honored. That pushed me to another visibility level. Then she put me in the affirmations book, and we became #1 bestsellers because of the vision of this great woman of God. And so, so that's what I do. And so I interview authors, anthology book projects, but now people call me and they're like, I got a program. Can I bring the speakers on? I want to, so then I said, okay, speaker tours. So it just continues to evolve.
To grow and evolve. Yes. The thing is that when God gives you an opportunity and the door is open and you take that step, He is going to do for you what needs to be done. Keisha, I see you. The name of the book is not Sister Act. You could try again. Listen, today I posted on Facebook something. What did I post? I put that you could be, you have to learn how to stand in the hallway so that the door can be open to you. So sometimes you just have to be able to start, and then you'll see things open. Because I remember when I started this talk show, I started it at my church, in my library at my church. Wow. And I remember it was 6 ladies around the table. Yeah. And that's how it started. That's how it got its name. I was talking to them about different things they were doing, their books, their careers, different things. And we were sitting around the table, and it just evolved from there. I took maybe about a few months off in between when my mom was sick, but I tried to keep up with it. But I am seeing the benefits and the blossom of sticking with the vision that God have given to you. So when God gives you a vision, He is going to take it to where it needs to go. So now you are evolving. The other thing that I noticed, because I'm all up in your business, I saw that you're taking it yet to another level, that you're going to be doing something on Clubhouse. So tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so here's the thing. When Clubhouse, y'all know when COVID hit, everybody, and I say everybody was on Clubhouse. I mean, Clubhouse takeovers everywhere. And I went in, but I was so scared. I went in, I would go in to support, but I was really still just kind of navigating and growing on the Facebook page. And I hadn't even tapped into YouTube at that point. But I was really, I said, okay, I'm good. I'm comfortable over here. And so I would just, but God never released me. And one, because I was kicked, I ain't doing that. And y'all, this is just how I talk. Okay. I'm like, I ain't doing that. It just looks too much. So several things have happened since I've been in, and I really have to attribute this to the Herpreneur Network. It's really, and I have to say it's because being a part of a network such as this, I have been pushed and provoked to do more and to really become even that much more visible in the midst of life situations and everything. I've made a yes. And before Clubhouse, I want to tell you, yes, Clubhouse, and I know that, but I wanted to dig a little bit deeper in my speaking ability. Even if I didn't really get my, I was working on a signature story. And so you're probably seeing me more on the opposite side of the microphone because I have a message, and God has given me a message that is called Positive Transformation Leads to Positive Results. I've been saying it now going on. It'll be 2 years. The Lord has given me this message. And in that, I've been really putting myself on the stage virtually and looking forward to some in-person opportunities as well. But in the back of my mind, I knew book talks with Sandy. So there's another piece. There's Coffee Conversation, Book Talks. So the book talk piece, I said, Lord, what are we going to do? Because I know that I do the quarterly book tours as well, and I always try to be relevant. I try to do it with a theme, and I've been saying readers need to know more. I've had the authors in mind, but God said, we're going to put the reader in mind, create something with the reader in mind. So, Clubhouse every Sunday evening. I love jazz music. I love music, period. So, whenever I was in the world, yes, I was clubbing and I was dancing and I was doing all of that. So, that's the Puerto Rican side of me, I guess. So, so I love music. I love coffee music. I love worship music. I love the ambiance of being in a coffee shop. And so I said, okay. And he began to let me, give me a vision and telling me, and I just began to work it out. And I said, you know what? I'm going to just dig in there and go. I don't know how to create the house and all of that. I started watching and going in. So yes, it finally has launched every Sunday evening. There is no charge for this. This is this area of my heartbeat of sowing a seed. What do I mean by that? That the authors can come on and literally read a portion of their book to the audience. And the audience is the readers in mind. Right now, we've been having just authors come in and we're reading it to each other.
Yes.
Dialogue. And God has just shown up differently each time. This past, I really didn't have a planned guest. So Lord said, you got a book, just like he did when he told me this is how you get your book out. So I did. I read from Queen Esther's Royal Decode. I read a portion of my chapter, and I tell you, God, I play worship music in the background, whatever God leads me to do. So I began to walk out what I learned through the Herpreneur Network. And I want to thank Dr. Nikki for provoking us. She's in the background. She cheers us on. She's my cheerleader. And she's our cheerleader in my healing process and going through my coaching with you all. Yes, Coach Alicia, her book has allowed me to, even with going through everything in our personal lives, that I still have a message for the world, and and for it to open opportunities for other people. So yeah, we're on Clubhouse every Sunday night at 6:00 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Central Standard Time. Listen, if it was not for the Herpreneur Network, I would probably have really retired. But because of the Herpreneur Network, I am doing so much that just keeps me alert and keeps me busy. Listen, Dr. Nikki Ziegler is one of a kind. I recently had a summit with 22 women over 3 days. And in the middle of the second day, the power went off in my home where I am. Dr. Nikki said, send me your code. I sent her the code, and it went on. Her and her assistant took over everything. I was off the air for about an hour and a half, and they just ran my entire. That is what we call collaboration, that we understand as women that we are here to help and build each other up. We're not here to be jealous of each other and envious. We're here to hold each other's hand. That's why I was laughing when Keisha Lee put in here, Sister Act was the book, because I know that that's what she heard you say. But no, Keisha, it's not Sister Act. And so what I'm going to do in this moment is she talked about this book in the beginning. Listen, you are listening to Around the Table. I am your host, Vision Coach Alicia, and I help women to overcome obstacles and help them to see the vision for their business, not only in the forefront, but to see it be farsighted about their business vision. And I'm speaking to author and talk show host Sandy Sanders tonight, and we're just having a conversation. And so, if you would like, hey, Dr. Nikki Ziegler,
calling her name.
no, someone is tagging her to come on in. That's what it is. But I am so excited because of that. You keep moving, you keep pushing, you keep doing things to make things different and keep moving forward. So, what I want to say to you tonight, I'm going to ask you two more things. How much is your book, and where can it be purchased? The book that you're part of an anthology.
Okay.
Keisha, listen well. This is the name of the book.
Yes, listen well. Well, the two books, Live Your Faith Out Loud. You can purchase that directly from me, and $20. And so you want to add the $3 charge for the shipping, so that is $23. I will put in I will put in the PayPal information of how an individual can simply reach out to me. Coffee Conversation, the email for my PayPal is Coffee Conversations with Sandy. So
the one that is running across the screen is correct. That's how they would. Okay. And my trusty assistant is in the back. She is going to put it in the link for us as well. Coffee Conversations with Sandy's. And so when they, okay, Keisha, you won. She was determined. She was living. You won. You were persistent, Minister Keisha. We got you. So the winner wins tonight. She wins. Hey, girlfriend, mug, coffee, tea, water, whatever you want. It'll be coming in the mail to you. Thank you. Yes, go ahead, Sandy.
No, I'm going to give you the PayPal link for that.
Okay.
Yeah. And yes, we'll do that for you.
Okay.
But it is Live Your Faith Out Loud, and they'll get a signed copy of that book because I actually have those. The Queen Esther Royal Decode is not available. We're going to be in pre-sale, and of course that will also be $23.
Okay, and that you'll be able to find later on Amazon.com, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so your book is $20 plus $3 for shipping and handling.
Yes.
Okay, and they can order it directly from you by visiting Coffee Conversations with Sandy.com.
Or they can actually go to, I'm going to give you the PayPal one. The PayPal, and forgive me, I'm working with my phone here, and I will have that for you in just a second.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Sanika, for working behind the scenes and always keeping things moving for Boss Business Coaching. That is the name of my business. You can find me on all social medias on the Boss Business Coaching. Listen tonight, those of you that are on, go and join my YouTube channel. I need 30 people by Monday to join my YouTube channel. Sanika, if you can put a link in the chat, because we want to grow this YouTube channel, because I have some things that are coming up that are going to be different, that I'm starting to really build, and it is going to be necessary for you to have my YouTube channel to participate in some of what I am getting ready to do. Again, you are sitting around the table tonight with moi. I am your host, Vision Coach Alicia, and my friend and sister, author and talk show host, Sandy Sanders. And so as we get ready tonight to close, I just want to ask you, Sandy, is there anything that you want to say to our listening audience tonight to just enlighten them about your journey?
I would.
As a podcaster, as an author, whatever, your journey tonight.
I do. What I want to say is Don't stop growing. Don't stop growing. The Bible tells us is that from faith to glory. And as a believer, I've learned this over the past, I say past 30, 60 days, is that when you put your life in the hands of the Lord, and that's the Lord Jesus Christ, be open to him navigating how how your life is to be led by who? By him. And when you follow the Father, when you follow him, he says that when you seek him, you'll seek him and he will diligently, when you seek him diligently, he will reward you. And seeking him diligently. So even what does that mean? That means is that I have a willing and yield heart, that Lord, I trust you no matter what. And that's one of the things is that I commit my business. This is now an official business. It is a business. And a couple of days ago, I was up walking and praying and just really seeking the face of the Father. And I had to, and it was like, okay, is it a business or is it a hobby? Well, God has given this to me as a marketplace business, and it's yet a ministry. Because first of all, my platform is my first fruit. And as I say, when I first became an author, I did not know how to get my book out. But what did I do? I kept plugging at it. I kept showing up and I kept showing up. And what did it do? It opened up opportunities for me to meet great women on such as Coach Alicia and the Dr. Nickies and the Karen Crockett Cherries and the Dorothy P. Wilson and Tiffany D. Bell. Those three women were very pivotal for me. But because I yielded to being a servant first, I served. And when you serve, God is bound to reward you. Serve with an intentional heart, that whatsoever I do it as unto the Lord, not for me to be seen, but for God to be glorified. And so that's what I would say to you, is that if you got a story in you, don't be ashamed to tell your story. Get with someone, get with some phenomenal coaches and people that will nurture you. And then if you have a voice, use it to bring about the healing and deliverance of someone else, because it's not about us. It is not about us. I dare not sit here. I'm gonna tell this and then I'll quickly. The Lord delivered me from alcohol, and that is the one thing I tell wherever I go. When I was in my 30s, and early 40s, really, I worked in a corporate world. I've always worked in the corporate world. I worked for a Fortune 500 company, but I was coming home every night drinking like a fish. And God delivered me from that. And I do jail and prison ministry, did it for 10 years before God relocated me to another city. And I was standing up teaching my class after being there for about 4 or 5 years. And God let me know, this is why you did not die. This is why you did not kill yourself or anybody else, because you had to come here to share your story. Our stories are meant to be an open book for others, so that their lives, they will have hope. The Christ in us is the hope of God's glory. And so that is why you have to tell your story, whether it is on platforms like this. Say yes, tell it. You may not sound, all elaborate, and I'll say the ain'ts and whatevers, and I will have broken English. I'm an old country girl.
Yes.
All of that. But one thing I know, as I say, I know how to bless the Lord, and I know how to give him some glory. And I will continue to do that, because without him, I am nothing. I want to thank you, Coach Dr. Apostle Alicia, for just loving on me through my pain. And people that know me, they don't mind. They know I'll drop a tear in a minute. But I thank you for letting me meet your audience and to be a part of your journey and be on this journey with you. Yes, and as we can do things together, I honor you and I thank God for you.
I am just so grateful that you said yes to coming on tonight and making the time, as busy as you have been, especially today, all
Yeah.
the things you have been doing today and still showing up. And that's what's so important, that we support each other. And
Yeah.
so, listen, those of you that can support my guests this evening, purchase her book. The information is, her link is in the chat. Please purchase her book, support her. Her show. When is your show? When
I
can people
air
grab your show?
Yeah, I air every Tuesday evening, and I've added on another night come the fall. We'll be on 2 days a week, every Tuesday and Thursday at 7:30 p.m. I use the Central Standard Time, so that is 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time.
Y'all heard it directly from her. Support. Thank you all so much for coming and sitting around the table tonight with me. I am going to see you all next week at the same time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here with a different guest. So until then, have a great day. God bless.